Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. This is Becky from My Creative Life. Today I'll be sharing another journal layout here in my Dylusions Dyalog journal. You can see this one has a lot of pre-printed backgrounds, which is super easy if you're short on time, you want to create something, and this has backgrounds already for you to just add your focal point, some details, and maybe a word phrase or a title. Today I am going to be adding more to the background before I add my focal point and my word phrase. Now to do that, I'm going to use this stencil from Tim Holtz. It's a plaid design, and I'm going to use it along with these two acrylic paints from Dylusions. And I cannot remember the exact colors these are, but I'll go ahead and list the colors along with all of the other items I used today down in my description box. Now you can see I also pulled out some flowers there on the lower right corner, but after I finish this background, it just does not go well. So I'll end up pulling out some black and white ones instead. Now this red is really bright and bold, but using it together with that blue-gray color paint, it toned it down a whole lot, which made it work on this page. Now I started off thinking I'm going to add the stenciling just to several areas on the background, but you'll see I will cover the entire background with this stencil. I love how it turned out, but it is also really bold and bright. So here I'm going to go ahead and cover up just the last area on the background, and you can see I have quite a bit of leftover paint on my glass mat there. I'm not gonna waste any of it. I do pull out my square Dylusions journal. I'm gonna flip over to a clean 2-page spread and go ahead and clean off my stencil. That way I will begin a background for a future layout, and here's where I clean off my stencil. I'm also going to use a wet baby wipes right there. And next up, I'm going to use the dauber along with what paint was left on the glass mat and daub it all over my background. And I'm going to just loosen it up right here with some water. And using that dauber, that is a coarse sponge dauber. I'll go ahead and link it below. I love this dauber. It adds a lot of texture to your background. So next up, I have these black and white flowers. I went ahead and used what was left over on the dauber to do the edges, and I did not like how they look, so I put those aside. I decided to just go ahead and work on the outer edge on the border around my layout. So here I'm using a finger dauber just because I have a lot more control using this really small finger dauber. And I'm going to go ahead and add that silver acrylic paint all the way around my layout. And that is from Dina Wakley. And next up, I am going to work on my focal point. Now I pulled out these collage sheets from Dylusions, and they're about, I think there are 2 or 3 packs of these. I think this is pack number 1 I pulled out here, or pack number 2, I'm not sure, but I'll add that information down below. I'm gonna use this head, fussy cut that out. And I also choose her body with this flowy dress, and I'll fussy cut that out as well. And next up, I chose her legs. Now I only cut out the top part of her leg because this journal is a bit short because it is a traveler's notebook size, and you're only going to see the top part. It's too short to add in her feet. So now I need an area where she will sit, because adding her onto that plaid background that I stenciled, it's just going to be too bold in the background where she'll get, where it will just overtake the layout. She will not stand out against that background. So I needed to create more of a solid area for her to be on. So I'm going to use the red paint once again and outline the area where the girl would be. To tone that down, I am using some of the blue-gray paint, and you can see it's a bit bold still, and I'll fix that in just a little bit. And of course, my layout looks really messy and ugly right now, but that's fine. all of my layouts go through the ugly, messy phase. Here I'm using my big brush marker from Faber-Castell, and I'm just outlining her, helping her to stand out against that background. And I fuss with her a lot throughout this process just to make sure that happens. But this is the first step here. I outline her dress, her body, her hair using this Faber-Castell black marker. Next up, I am going to go ahead and adhere her to the page. Actually, first I used some of that silver paint once again to fade out that dark background. And I think that helped a lot more than having it dark like it was. I like how this looked a lot better. And then once I finish fading that out, I'll go ahead and adhere her. Now I do start with the legs, of course, because I want her dress to sit on top of her legs, and it helps cover up the blue skirt that's on the legs. And there I'm just using my Nouveau spatula together with my matte gel medium. And I love using a silicone spatula with this adhesive because cleanup is super easy instead of using a brush to apply that adhesive there. I'm just fading out any little areas I see there once I lay her head and her body. And now I'm going to go ahead and use that spatula once again with the matte gel medium, seal her in. And you can see my jar is pretty empty, but I do have another one on the way to me. I love using this to adhere collage pieces, especially when it's sitting on any type of mixed media. So now to fade out my left page just a little bit more, I am using what was left on the finger dauber and just brushing it back and forth against that background. Now I'm going to add some more stenciling. And I'm using this leaf design stencil. This is from Dylusions. And you can see I first started off with just the silver paint. I do not like how that looked. I'm going to add in here some of the blue-gray paint that I used before. And I love that a lot better. I mixed it with the silver in different areas. So I get a variation of shades and colors using this stencil. I'm going to fill in the entire left page. I actually did not mean to add so much of the stenciling, just like I did not mean to add so much of the plaid, but it ended up over the entire background. Here I'm adding some into the right side of the girl. Then I'll go ahead and add some to the top. And I have one last area on the bottom in the middle. And I love how it looked. It just filled up the page and it gave a really nice detail to the layout. So now to help her stand out a bit more, I am going to go ahead and outline her in white. So you can see I first outlined her using the black big brush marker. Now I'm doing it using the white gel pen. Of course, I tried my Posca paint pen. That never works for me. I always go back to the Sakura gel pen, this white one. And I think this is the number 8 or number 10 nib, which is a pretty wide nib. And here I'm just outlining some of the areas around her eyes in the black and also some white gel again. And now I'm going to move over to the word phrase. Now I'm using the back chat from Dylusions. These are the snarky phrases I've been using lately on my layouts. And the one I chose says, I will try to be nice to you, but often my mouth gets in the way. I'm going to go ahead and adhere this to the background, but you'll see it is really, really bright white. So I am using a little bit of that paint to cover up some of the white just to fade it out. And it also covered up a lot of the writing. You can see the writing, but it's not bold enough for me. So later on, I will need to go in and outline those words using my black Sharpie. I also went in and outlined all of those word phrases using my white gel pen. So now using my white gel pen, once again, I am adding a little bit of detail to the leaves, I'm gonna outline some of them, and that helps add a little bit of dimension to my layout, because some of the leaves now look like they're in the background and some of them more up front, and that add a little bit of depth to the layout here. So now I decided to add some shadowing around my girl using my black charcoal pencil. And I'm gonna go ahead and outline her right here and use my finger with a wet wipes and just smear that black charcoal pencil. It's activated with liquid, and I'm gonna get a really slight shadow. I did not want a really dark shadow, just a subtle one. And now I'm gonna go back in with my white gel pen. So the combination of the shadow and the white gel pen is what I definitely needed to go ahead and have her pop off this page. So now I'm gonna use my black Sharpie to make sure those words are outlined and bold enough so you can read them, because using that silver paint before, it just faded them out a little bit too much. And here we have a close-up look at my layout. I love how this turned out. A lot busier than I planned, but I really love how it turned out. I hope you guys enjoyed the process today. If you did, be sure to leave me a comment. Let me know what you think and give me a thumbs up before you leave. And I hope you join me again really soon for another one of my layouts. So thanks for watching today, and until next time, bye.